I have spent decades studying the habits, thoughts, and lives of hundreds of men and women who achieved extraordinary wealth. From Andrew Carnegie to Thomas Edison, from Henry Ford to countless entrepreneurs, I sought to uncover the patterns that separate the wealthy from the poor, the successful from the struggling. And after years of research, observation, and reflection, I discovered a truth that most people refuse to admit. The real reason you are not rich is not the economy, your boss, or bad luck. It is your own mind. Yes, your mind, your thoughts, your beliefs, and the unconscious programs that govern your actions determines your financial destiny, far more than the external circumstances you blame. I say this not to condemn, but to illuminate. Most individuals walk through life as if wealth is a random lottery, something that happens to lucky people while others endure hardship and limitation. Yet, I have learned that wealth is not random, and misfortune is not inevitable. It all begins with belief. A man or woman cannot create substantial wealth without first believing in their ability to do so. Many people fail to become rich simply because they do not truly believe it is possible for them. They have been conditioned from childhood to accept mediocrity, scarcity, or limitation. Phrases like money doesn't grow on trees, or rich people are greedy embed themselves in the subconscious, forming invisible walls that block the natural flow of opportunity. I often ask people, what do you believe about money? Most answer without reflection, I need it, I want it, I struggle with it. But beneath those words lie deeper beliefs that wealth is unattainable, that they are undeserving, or that they are doomed to work endlessly, without gaining real financial freedom. These beliefs, often unexamined and unquestioned, are the invisible barriers that prevent them from ever rising above their current circumstances. The next major factor is definiteness of purpose. Many people drift through life with vague dreams and scattered goals. They want to be rich, yet they cannot articulate exactly what that means, how much they desire, or why they deserve it. Without a definite purpose, without a clear financial objective, the mind cannot focus energy, attention, and action in the precise way necessary to create wealth. Wealth is not the result of scattered effort or wishful thinking, it is the outcome of a clear, focused, and persistent purpose. I remember my first interview with a young businessman who complained bitterly about his lack of success. He worked long hours, sacrificed his personal life, and yet remained in debt. When I asked him about his goals, he could not tell me a specific number, date, or plan. He had no plan, no definite aim, he simply hoped. And hope, my friend, without a precise aim, is a weak force. It is not enough to desire wealth, you must know exactly what you want, why you want it, and be willing to act until that goal is achieved. Another crucial reason people fail is indecision, procrastination, hesitation, and fear of making mistakes cripple the mind. Wealth demands action, calculated risk, and a willingness to make decisions even when uncertainty exists. Indecision creates delay, and delay is the enemy of opportunity. Many people spend more time worrying about the perfect moment or the perfect plan than actually taking steps toward their goal. Yet, in my experience, the rich do not wait, they act. They understand that mistakes are part of learning, but hesitation ensures stagnation. Fear is another invisible chain. The fear of failure, fear of criticism, fear of taking responsibility, and even fear of success itself can all prevent someone from achieving financial independence. Fear distorts perception, shrinks vision, and paralyzes action. I have met many capable, talented individuals who would have thrived if only they had confronted their fears and moved forward despite them. The rich, on the other hand, have learned to recognize fear, but they do not allow it to dominate their decisions. They act with courage, understanding that temporary discomfort often leads to permanent reward. Then there is the habit of negative thinking. The poor often focus on obstacles, limitations, and problems, while the wealthy focus on solutions, opportunities, and possibilities. The mind is like a fertile garden. If you plant seeds of fear, doubt, and scarcity, you will reap the harvest of limitation. If you plant seeds of faith, courage, and opportunity, you will reap the harvest of abundance. The thoughts you nurture every day shape your financial reality, far more than external circumstances ever will. I cannot overstate the importance of persistence. Many people give up too soon. They encounter a single failure, a single rejection, or a temporary setback and immediately declare that wealth is impossible. But the most successful men and women I studied did not quit. When faced with adversity, they pressed on. They adjusted their approach, refined their plan, and continued moving forward. Persistence is the invisible engine of wealth creation. Without it, genius, talent, and opportunity will always remain dormant. Finally, you must associate with the right minds. I call it a mastermind alliance. The people you spend the most time with influence your thoughts, attitudes, and actions. Surround yourself with those who doubt, complain, or envy, and your mind will adopt those limitations. Surround yourself with ambitious, positive, and knowledgeable people, and your mind will rise to their level. Wealth is rarely a solo achievement. It is created in conjunction with supportive, stimulating, and goal-oriented minds. So, when you ask, "Why am I not rich?" do not blame the economy, your parents, or your circumstances. Look inward. Examine your beliefs, your habits, your fears, and the clarity of your purpose. The real reason you are not rich lies within your own mind. And here is the good news. The mind is malleable. You can change your beliefs, strengthen your focus, confront your fears, and develop habits of thought that attract wealth instead of repelling it. You are not doomed by circumstance. You are limited only by the walls you build in your own mind. In part 2, we will explore how fear and indecision specifically block your path to wealth and practical strategies to overcome them. Many people believe that intelligence, education, or connections are the primary factors in wealth creation. While these elements can help, I have discovered something far more critical: the invisible forces of fear and indecision. These are the silent killers of opportunity and the true reasons why so many capable people remain poor. Fear takes many forms. There is the fear of failure, the fear of criticism, the fear of losing what little you have, and even the fear of success. Each one has the power to paralyze your mind and prevent you from taking the actions necessary to create wealth. Consider the fear of failure. Many individuals never attempt to pursue wealth because they are terrified of making mistakes. They imagine every possible scenario in which they might fail and conclude that trying is too risky. Yet failure is not the enemy, it is a teacher. Every person who has achieved significant wealth has failed countless times. Thomas Edison, one of the greatest inventors of all time, famously said that he did not fail 1,000 times in creating the light bulb. He found 1,000 ways that did not work. Fear is compounded by indecision. People often wait for the perfect moment or the perfect plan to start pursuing wealth, and that moment never comes. Opportunity, by its nature, is fleeting. It does not wait for someone to overcome hesitation. The successful understand that decisive action, even imperfect action, is always better than indecision. Action generates momentum, inaction generates stagnation. Let me tell you a story. I once met a man with incredible talent and skill, someone who could have been wealthy many times over. Yet, he spent years hesitating, waiting for the right opportunity. When the opportunity finally arrived, he had been so consumed by doubts that he allowed it to pass. He remained poor not because he lacked ability, but because fear and indecision ruled his mind. Most people do not recognize the subtle ways fear shapes their behavior. It influences how they spend money, how they invest, how they interact with others, and how they approach risk. They may think they are making logical decisions, but beneath the surface, fear is silently steering the ship. To overcome this, one must first identify fear. Begin by examining your own thoughts. When you hesitate, when you procrastinate, what are you truly afraid of? Often, people will say they fear losing money. But deeper analysis reveals more profound fears: fear of judgment, fear of responsibility, fear of change, Naming these fears is the first step toward control. Next comes the practice of bold action. Fear loses its power when confronted with deliberate, persistent action. Start small if necessary, but start. Take steps each day that challenge the fears limiting your progress. Every action you take to confront fear strengthens your confidence and expands the range of your possibilities. Indecision is closely related to fear, yet it has its own nuances. A person may be capable of making decisions, but they defer them endlessly, hoping that someone else will provide the answer, or that circumstances will magically become favorable. This habit of deferral is deadly in wealth creation. Financial success requires timely decisions about investments, business ventures, partnerships, and opportunities. The ability to make quick, informed, and confident decisions separates the rich from the rest. I have observed that the mind of the wealthy operates differently. When faced with a decision, they gather the necessary facts, assess the risks, and commit. They understand that mistakes are inevitable, but that mistakes are also a vital part of learning. They also know that procrastination guarantees loss, while decisive action opens doors. Another way fear manifests is through self-limiting beliefs. People tell themselves they cannot earn more than a certain amount, that wealth is only for the lucky or the greedy, or that they are inherently unworthy of abundance. These beliefs are subtle forms of fear that create invisible ceilings in the mind. Once you recognize them, you can replace them with empowering thoughts. I am capable of wealth. Opportunities are available to me. I deserve financial success. Persistence is the final weapon against fear and indecision. Even when fear appears, even when the mind urges delay, the persistent individual keeps moving forward. Wealth is rarely instantaneous, it is accumulated over time, through repeated actions, adjustments, and learning from mistakes. Persistence transforms temporary setbacks into stepping stones. Let me emphasize a critical point. Fear and indecision are habits, not permanent conditions. Just as people have learned to hesitate and doubt over time, they can learn to act with courage and decisiveness. The mind can be trained, and habits can be reshaped. One practical method I recommend is writing a clear, definite plan for wealth. Include precise goals, deadlines, and the steps necessary to achieve them. When a plan is written and reviewed daily, indecision loses much of its power. Each day, you know what action is required, and fear becomes more manageable because you have a roadmap to follow. Another key method is forming alliances with like-minded, courageous individuals. Your mastermind group. Surround yourself with people who act decisively, who support growth, and who challenge you to rise above hesitation. Their influence helps weaken the grip of fear and strengthens your resolve. In conclusion, the real reason you are not rich is not luck, circumstance, or lack of talent. It is the fear that restricts your actions, and the indecision that prevents you from seizing opportunities. These invisible forces hold countless capable individuals back every day. But the solution is simple, though not easy. Recognize your fears. Act despite them. Make decisions promptly and confidently. Persist even when failure seems inevitable. Those who conquer fear and indecision unlock the path to wealth. Those who continue to let these forces rule remain trapped, no matter how intelligent, skilled, or hardworking they may be. I have learned over decades of observing the rich and the poor that wealth is not merely the result of effort, talent, or opportunity. It is primarily the product of belief. Yes, belief, your internal conviction about what you can achieve, what you deserve, and how the universe responds to your actions is the invisible magnet that draws wealth to those who cultivate it. Many people fail to achieve financial success not because they lack intelligence or skill, but because they do not truly believe in their ability to become rich. They entertain thoughts of wealth, dream about luxury, or wish for a better life, yet deep inside, their mind harbors doubts. I can't do it. I'm not worthy. Money is for other people. Such beliefs, often formed in childhood or reinforced by repeated social conditioning, are far more powerful than any external circumstance. The average person believes what they have been told by parents, teachers, or peers about money, wealth, and their own capabilities. These beliefs form invisible walls in the subconscious mind that prevent the free flow of ideas, opportunities, and decisive action. Belief operates in two ways, consciously and subconsciously. On a conscious level, you may say, "I want to be rich," but on a subconscious level, you may feel undeserving, fearful, or incapable. The subconscious mind does not distinguish between reality and imagination. It acts upon what it believes to be true. If you feed it doubt and limitation, it will ensure your actions remain constrained. If you feed it faith and possibility, it will direct your behavior toward opportunity and success. I have observed countless individuals with extraordinary abilities who remained poor, simply because they lacked faith in themselves. Conversely, I have seen modestly talented men and women achieve immense wealth because their belief was unwavering, their mind focused, and their determination unyielding. Faith, more than any skill or circumstance, differentiates the wealthy from the struggling. How do you cultivate belief? First, by developing a definite purpose. A vague desire will never create lasting results. You must define precisely how much wealth you want, why you want it, and what you are willing to give in exchange. This definite purpose becomes the foundation upon which belief is built. When your mind is clear about your objective, it begins to generate ideas, recognize opportunities, and take action that aligns with that goal. Second, belief grows through repetition of thought. I have instructed many students to affirm their goals daily, visualize themselves achieving them, and mentally rehearse the success they desire. These repeated mental exercises impress the subconscious mind, which begins to align thoughts, habits, and actions with the envisioned reality. Third, belief requires removing negative influences. Surround yourself with people, environments, and media that reinforce doubt or fear, and your belief will weaken. Seek out mentors, peers, and literature that support optimism, determination, and wealth creation. The mind is influenced profoundly by association. The stronger your belief, the more you will unconsciously mimic the attitudes and habits of those who already succeed. One of the most common obstacles to belief is the acceptance of limiting ideas about money. Many people unconsciously believe that wealth is inherently corrupting, that rich people are greedy, or that they are not meant to be wealthy. Such ideas serve as invisible chains, preventing them from pursuing financial opportunities or taking calculated risks. To become rich, one must redefine wealth in a positive context, as freedom, as opportunity, as the ability to create value. I emphasize, again, that belief is not wishful thinking. It is a firm, unwavering conviction combined with deliberate action. Belief without action is merely daydreaming. Action without belief is often inconsistent and weak. Only when belief and action align does the mind become a powerful magnet for wealth. Let me provide an example. I once worked with a man who desired financial independence, but had never accumulated savings beyond occasional paychecks. He doubted his own capacity to create wealth and feared investing or starting a business. Over several months, he practiced mental exercises to reinforce belief in his abilities, wrote a definite plan, and acted on opportunities with careful persistence. Within a few years, his financial situation transformed dramatically, not because luck changed, but because his belief had changed, which in turn changed his behavior, decisions, and ultimately his results. Belief also affects creativity. Many people fail to recognize opportunities because their mind is closed by doubt. The wealthy, however, see possibilities where others see problems. Their conviction that success is possible allows them to think in ways that generate ideas, solutions, and innovations. Wealth follows ideas executed with purpose and persistence. And belief is the invisible engine driving those ideas. Another critical element of belief is faith in abundance. Those who live in scarcity consciousness always worry that resources are limited, that they must compete, and that wealth is zero-sum. In contrast, the wealthy operate from the belief that opportunities, wealth, and success are abundant. This mindset encourages collaboration, creativity, and proactive risk-taking. Scarcity breeds hesitation, abundance breeds action. When I study the lives of the wealthy, one thing becomes unmistakably clear. Success is not the product of luck, genius, or extraordinary opportunity alone. It is the result of consistent habits, repeated every day over years. The poor often underestimate the power of daily actions, dismissing them as trivial or inconsequential. Yet the truth is that wealth accumulates like compound interest. Small, disciplined steps repeated consistently yield enormous results over time. Let me begin with the first habit. Definiteness of purpose applied daily. It is not enough to have a goal written on paper. Wealthy individuals review their objectives every day, visualize success, and plan their actions accordingly. Their purpose is alive, active, and shapes their decisions moment by moment, while the average person drifts from task to task, responding only to external demands. The wealthy act intentionally, every day reinforcing their ultimate objective. The second habit is continuous learning. Those who accumulate wealth understand that knowledge is power, but only when applied. They read, observe, and seek out mentors. They study markets, human behavior, psychology, and trends. They adapt. They learn from mistakes and from the successes of others. In contrast, those who remain poor often rely on what they already know or avoid learning because it feels uncomfortable. Wealth is the reward of those who remain curious and disciplined in acquiring actionable knowledge. A third habit is prudent financial management. The rich treat money differently than the poor. They do not simply spend as it comes in, they allocate, invest, and protect resources. They understand that wealth is created not by how much you earn, but by how effectively you manage and multiply what you have. Simple practices tracking expenses, investing in growth opportunities, and avoiding unnecessary debt compound over time to create significant financial freedom. Persistence, a habit we have already discussed in theory, manifests in daily routine as consistent effort despite setbacks. Wealthy people take action every single day, even when progress seems invisible. They understand that every small step, every phone call, every meeting, and every decision is part of the larger picture. In contrast, inconsistency is one of the primary reasons most people fail to build lasting wealth. Another critical habit is time mastery. Wealthy individuals value their time as their most precious resource. They eliminate distractions, prioritize tasks that create value, and avoid activities that waste energy without generating meaningful results. In today's world, the average person is bombarded with constant distractions, social media, entertainment, and endless obligations. The rich understand that discipline in time management multiplies the effectiveness of all other habits. Wealthy people also cultivate a positive mental attitude daily. As I have written before, thoughts are powerful forces that shape reality. Negative thinking leads to hesitation, fear, and missed opportunities, while optimism, persistence, and creative thinking attract success. A daily habit of affirmations, visualization, and gratitude can reinforce this positive mindset, making challenges feel like opportunities rather than obstacles. Another practical habit is networking and creating alliances. The rich do not attempt to go it alone. They understand the value of surrounding themselves with people of influence, knowledge, and integrity. This is not just about socializing, it is a deliberate daily practice of nurturing relationships, sharing value, and learning from others. Every interaction becomes an opportunity for growth, advice, and collaboration. Decision-making practice is also crucial. Every day, the wealthy practice making decisions promptly and executing them without unnecessary delay. They understand that indecision is a silent thief of opportunity. Even small decisions, consistently made, train the mind to act decisively in larger matters, reinforcing confidence and attracting wealth. Furthermore, they embrace physical and mental discipline. The mind and body are intimately connected. The wealthy maintain routines that optimize energy, focus, and clarity. Exercise, nutrition, meditation, and sufficient rest are not indulgences, they are essential habits that sustain high performance over years. Poor health and fatigue are invisible obstacles that drain energy from the pursuit of wealth. Finally, reflection and self-evaluation are daily practices that reinforce growth. The wealthy review their actions, learn from successes and failures, and adjust strategies accordingly. They do not blame circumstance, they analyze, adapt, and improve. This habit of honest self-reflection transforms mistakes into lessons and ensures continuous progression toward wealth. To summarize, the difference between those who remain poor and those who achieve extraordinary financial success is rarely talent or luck. It is the disciplined daily application of powerful habits. Review and act on a definite purpose daily. Pursue continuous learning and apply knowledge. Manage money wisely, spend, save, invest strategically. Persist in action despite setbacks. Master time, prioritize what creates value. Maintain a positive, wealth-attracting mindset. Cultivate networks and alliances deliberately. Practice prompt and confident decision-making. Maintain physical and mental discipline. Reflect, evaluate, and adjust actions continuously. The rich do not rely on magic or sudden windfalls. They rely on small, intentional, consistent actions that, compounded over time, produce monumental results. The poor often fail not because they lack opportunity, talent, or education, but because they neglect the daily rituals that shape success. I have always believed that the conscious mind is only the tip of the iceberg. The bulk of human thought, motivation, and behavior resides in the subconscious mind, a silent partner that works tirelessly, whether you direct it or not. If your subconscious is aligned with wealth, it becomes a powerful ally. If it is filled with doubt, fear, and limiting beliefs, it ensures failure no matter how hard you try consciously. The first step in harnessing the subconscious is understanding its role. Your subconscious mind accepts as true whatever is impressed upon it with repetition and emotion. It does not question. It does not debate. It merely acts on the instructions given. This is why affirmations, visualization, and emotionally charged thoughts can be so potent. They are the language of the subconscious. Many people fail to become rich because their subconscious mind has been programmed for limitation. From childhood, society, parents, and peers often implant beliefs such as, money is scarce, rich people are selfish, or I will never be wealthy. These ideas are absorbed unconsciously, and they shape behavior, often without awareness. Your conscious mind may desire wealth, but the subconscious mind obeys its long-standing programming. Until you reprogram it, you will continue to struggle financially. The second principle is emotion combined with thought. The subconscious responds not to mere ideas, but to ideas charged with emotion. Fear, desire, faith, and passion all influence it. Wealthy individuals understand this. They do not merely think about their goals, they feel them. They visualize themselves living in abundance, experience the satisfaction of success, and immerse themselves emotionally in their vision. This emotional engagement instructs the subconscious to seek opportunities, generate ideas, and guide decisions aligned with wealth. A critical practice I teach is daily autosuggestion. This is a deliberate process of feeding your subconscious mind with thoughts of success, prosperity, and opportunity. Write your definite purpose, read it aloud, visualize its achievement, and feel the emotion of accomplishment. Repetition strengthens the impression on the subconscious. Over time, it becomes a natural driver of behavior. The subconscious begins to alert you to opportunities, solutions, and strategies that the conscious mind might otherwise miss. Fear is the most destructive element in the subconscious. Worries about failure, criticism, or loss embed themselves deeply and sabotage attempts at wealth. Every hesitation, every negative thought, every I can't or am not worthy strengthens the power of limitation. Consciously recognizing these fears is not enough, they must be actively replaced with faith, courage, and a clear vision of abundance. Another key aspect is belief in yourself and your ability to act. The subconscious responds to self-confidence. When you genuinely believe that you can create wealth, your subconscious orchestrates your actions to align with that belief. You make decisions faster, recognize opportunities earlier, and persist longer. Without this belief, the subconscious will default to avoidance, procrastination, and safety, ensuring financial stagnation. Wealth is also blocked when the subconscious mind is influenced by envy, greed, or resentment toward others. These emotions distort perception, cloud judgment, and attract resistance rather than opportunity. A wealthy mind is generous, creative, and forward-focused. It concentrates on what can be created rather than comparing itself to others or lamenting what it lacks. The process of reprogramming the subconscious is not instantaneous. It requires discipline, repetition, and patience. Daily visualization, affirmations, and emotional engagement build new pathways in the mind. Eventually, the subconscious mind begins to work tirelessly for you, seeking wealth-enhancing opportunities, fostering creativity, and aligning actions with your purpose. Finally, wealth requires trusting the guidance of the subconscious. Many people act with doubt, second-guess their instincts, or ignore intuitive insights. The subconscious often communicates through subtle hunches, gut feelings, and inspired ideas. Acting on these intuitions consistently can lead to breakthroughs in wealth creation that deliberate reasoning alone may never discover. To summarize, the subconscious mind is both a gatekeeper and a guide. It can either enforce limitation or generate abundance. The real reason most people remain poor is that their subconscious is unconsciously programmed with fear, doubt, and scarcity thinking. The rich, however, intentionally impress their subconscious with desire, faith, and a definite purpose, allowing it to orchestrate thoughts, decisions, and actions that lead inevitably to wealth. After examining fear, indecision, belief, habits, and the subconscious mind, the final step in understanding why most people never become rich is integration, the ability to bring all these principles together and apply them consistently in daily life. True wealth is not the result of a single idea, a lucky opportunity, or an isolated effort. It is the culmination of persistent, focused, and intelligent application of multiple principles over time. First, revisit definiteness of purpose. Wealth is only possible when the mind is fully focused on a clear, specific objective. This purpose must be more than a vague desire. It must be precise, emotionally charged, and compelling enough to drive consistent action. Every decision, every action, and every thought must be aligned with this purpose. Without it, effort is scattered, energy is wasted, and the mind remains susceptible to distraction, doubt, and fear. Next, acknowledge the role of belief. As we discussed, your internal convictions about wealth determine the trajectory of your life. It is not enough to want money. You must believe in your ability to acquire it, deserve it, and manage it wisely. Daily affirmations, visualization, and emotional reinforcement strengthen this belief and impress it upon the subconscious mind. Over time, the subconscious becomes a tireless ally, guiding decisions, inspiring ideas, and alerting you to opportunities. Habits and daily practices are the bridge between belief and action. Reading, learning, networking, managing time, maintaining health, and taking consistent, purposeful steps. All of these small, repeated actions accumulate into massive results. Wealthy individuals do not rely on inspiration alone, they rely on disciplined practice. They understand that mastery is achieved through repetition, focus, and refinement of their craft. Persistence is the fuel that keeps the engine running. Failure, setbacks, and rejection are inevitable, but the wealthy persist. They analyze failures, learn from mistakes, and adjust strategies without losing sight of the ultimate objective. The moment you give up is the moment opportunity slips away. Persistence turns temporary defeat into eventual victory. Fear and indecision must be confronted continually. These forces are not vanquished once they are tested every day. Every time you act decisively despite fear, you reinforce a new pattern in the mind. Every time you hesitate, you reinforce limitation. The conscious choice to act courageously is repeated endlessly until it becomes a habit, and that habit forms the foundation of financial success. The subconscious mind is the silent partner in this journey. When all other principles are aligned: purpose, belief, habits, persistence, the subconscious mind amplifies them. It works behind the scenes, generating ideas, alerting you to opportunities, and steering your thoughts toward creative solutions. Wealth is as much about internal alignment as external action. Another critical principle is association. No one becomes wealthy in isolation. Mastermind alliances, partnerships, mentorship, and collaboration amplify effort and provide insights that a single mind alone cannot achieve. Surround yourself with ambitious, intelligent, and ethical individuals. Let their energy, knowledge, and determination elevate your own. A supportive circle becomes a multiplier for success. Now, consider risk and calculated action. Many people remain poor because they fear taking any meaningful risk. The wealthy understand that risk is part of every worthwhile endeavor. They do not gamble recklessly, but they do take calculated steps outside their comfort zone, aware that every great opportunity carries some uncertainty. Avoiding all risk guarantees mediocrity controlled. Informed risk is the path to extraordinary results. Finally, integration requires reflection and adaptation. Review your actions, evaluate results, and adjust your strategies. Life is dynamic, and circumstances change. The ability to integrate lessons, remain flexible, and refine your approach ensures that effort continues to produce results. Wealth is not static, it grows and evolves as your mind, skills, and opportunities evolve. When all these principles, purpose, belief, daily habits, persistence, mastery over fear, subconscious alignment, association, and calculated risk are consciously integrated into life, the result is inevitable: lasting financial success. The person who applies these laws consistently is not at the mercy of circumstance, luck, or fleeting trends. They create wealth systematically, predictably, and reliably. Remember this: the real reason you are not rich is not external, it is internal. It lies in thoughts left unchecked, fears left unchallenged, habits left unformed, and purposes left undefined. The pathway to wealth is simple in concept, but demanding in practice. It requires discipline, courage, focus, and persistence. To those willing to apply these principles faithfully, I say this: wealth is not a dream, it is a science. It can be learned, practiced, and mastered. Your mind, properly trained, is the most powerful tool you will ever possess. Every action you take, every thought you nurture, every belief you embrace shapes your financial destiny. The moment you take responsibility for your own mind, the moment you align your purpose, belief, and actions, you unlock the door to prosperity. Wealth is not a gift. It is the product of a mind organized for success. The individual who masters these principles will not only become rich but will gain freedom, confidence, and the ability to contribute value to others. And that, ultimately, is the greatest measure of true wealth. The choice is yours. The principles are universal. Success favors the prepared, the disciplined, and the persistent. Will you allow fear, doubt, and indecision to rule your life? Or will you take control of your mind and create the wealth you deserve?